Well, some of the first Canadians fleeing the Israel-Hamas war arrived in Toronto last night. The passengers were airlifted out of Tel Aviv on Canadian Armed Forces planes and flown to Greece before boarding another flight home. The CBC's Albert Delatella tracking that story for us today. Albert, what more can you tell us?
Well, Natalie, some emotional reunions last night in Toronto as some of the first Canadians touched down from Israel amid the war between Israel and Hamas. They are among an estimated 281 Canadians who took off from Israel on Thursday on one of two flights operated by the Canadian Armed Forces. The federal government announced those flights earlier in the week following the mass cancellation of commercial flights and calls from hundreds of stranded Canadians for assistance in getting out. One of the people to arrive is the woman you're seeing there and her family. Her name is Kinneret Butterfield Morrison. She was visiting Israel with her brothers and father. So here she is describing some of the scenes she left behind.
The raining of rockets and the trauma that kids are experiencing, running into shelters and running into stairwells, and everyone knows someone who is missing or lost their lives. And I have a big family in Israel, and I also have, cousins and their children who are now deployed, and it's just a really sad, difficult time.
Ontario MP Ara Sachs was there to greet the people who touched down. She's the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions and identifies as an Israeli Canadian.
The level of devastation and trauma that these folks have been through, and frankly everyone in the region is going through right now, is a lot to process. So for the folks coming off the flight, our priority is that they've gotten home to safety and that they're with their loved ones.
And senior government officials are pegging the number at about 1,300, the number of Canadians who wish to leave Israel.
And Albert, what can you tell us about the Canadians that are in Gaza?
Yeah, there is hope, Natalie, that a number of Canadians could be able to get out today. What's at the center of that hope is the Rafah Gate, the only crossing on the border between Gaza and Egypt. We have a map to show you of exactly where that is. The Associated Press, they reported this morning that an agreement has been reached to allow foreign nationals to exit that border you're seeing there, that they'll be able to exit through it today. The U.S. have been working with Egypt, Israel, and Qatar to open that crossing, but the window is expected to be brief, about 5 hours. It isn't entirely clear what that U.S. deal means for Canadians there. Global Affairs Canada says there are about 150 people that's looking to get out of Gaza, most of those being Canadians, and it's an urgent situation. The territory has been cut off from food, fuel, and other supplies. Airstrikes by Israel have also forced more than 400,000 people out of their homes, and on top of that, the Israeli military has ordered more than 1 million Palestinians living in northern Gaza to move immediately to the south before an expected ground invasion in the coming days. And Natalie, CBC News has reached out to Global Affairs Canada about that deal. We're waiting to hear back from them on what it means for Canada and Canadians. Natalie.
Thank you, Albert. The CBC's Albert Delatella.